To switch back to our selection tool, we press V, and we can actually go ahead and start selecting the camera. So to select the camera, you can either select it from just the axes. Now, when you do that, your camera and your point of interest are moving. Notice on the window on the right that we're looking through the active camera, right? And then let's get this closer. We can start doling towards our letters here, our assets. What if I grab the little cube here, the camera itself? Now this enables a more flexible movement, X, Y, and Z, whereas in this case, the point of interest stays stationary. The point of interest, you can click and move it, and has its own transforms. Can we see these? Yes, we can go down to the camera here, turn this transform attributes on, and let's look at these settings. While I'm moving the point of interest, look at the numbers, they're all moving. You can actually go here and select only the X, the Y, or the Z. So basically what we're doing here is, well, the Z is like moving our point of interest closer to our camera, and that's something that is sometimes really handy. And we're going to talk about that when we're going to start animating. What we want to just discover now is how we can kind of get these two attributes to work for our little kind of demonstration here. Let's do something else. Let's go ahead, press C, and move closer to our viewport. Press V, and I'm going to start animating this. I'm going to set the camera around there, like kind of in the center. And I'm going to start animating these two attributes. The best thing to do is to select them both and add a keyframe. So we have a keyframe for both of these on frame 1. I'm going to move the indicator here a little bit to the right and we're going to keyframe another, set another keyframe for both of these by going to the to this view and using the unified camera tool. I can start moving my camera. See how I'm moving the camera, and I'm getting our orientation. So actually I have keyframed this. Of course, this is the position. What about the point of interest? The point of interest didn't move because we were only moving the camera. If you want to move the point of interest, you have to go to this view, which is easier to grab, and select the point of interest, or you can select it and then move it to where exactly you want the target to be on our second keyframe here. So let's play back this animation. You can see that the camera is moving smoothly, rotating around the 3D space. Let's try to go ahead here and grab one of these logos. Well, this logo, of course, can also move around, and we can manipulate that as the camera is moving. So let's go ahead and turn this on. So in the transforms, we can set keyframes to position, to scale, and to opacity. So let's start with, let's first get the scale correct. So this is our object. Now it's, see, now it's behind our plane. We don't want to do that. We want to start there. And let's make this start with a bigger scale. Okay. And those are, and the opacity, we're gonna work on that in a minute. Let's go to the second, just to the second keyframe where the camera was where we animated it, and let's set another keyframe for this object. We can just start moving it around on the Z, maybe on the X. So kind of closer to the camera. So here you can see that we can move the camera and the typography at the same time. Let's get these keyframes, give them some like an easy in, and let's get this easy out. Let's get the opacity here to 0. And then to 100. So we can get started with a nice. And let's go back to our other asset here, and let's move it towards the camera. What we want to do with this one is to move it close to the camera, and we want it to just appear like at the end. So what I'm going to do is just grab the opacity, position, scale, and get the opacity down to 0 and move a little bit forward. Get the opacity 100 and also get the get this thing moving a little bit as we are in motion here, so we can get this motion. Okay, so now here, before we hit these last keyframes, I'm gonna press N, and I'm gonna just loop this. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and select our background and make it 2D. I'll explain that in a minute. Let's go and loop this. Of course, this is too fast. I was not paying attention to our numbers here. So I'm gonna go ahead and select these keyframes, the camera, move them like further away. And this, space them out. So you can see that we're like moving in 3D space and we're having our assets animating at the same time. But in this lesson, we wanted to just review the camera and how we can actually navigate in the 3D space. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about how we can analyze these layers a little bit more and animate them, give like a better movement, refine all these kind of keyframes.